It's every driver's dream to win the Daytona 500. It's a race that defines legacies and kicks off every NASCAR season. Last year, it was the 24 team that won the Great American Race, but this year, another driver hopes to write their name in the history book. We're here with Kyle Busch at RCR for production day for Zone. What's it like to have this partner coming back?
It's awesome. Anytime you're obviously able to have partners that give into our race program and support all of us to go out there and achieve our dreams, it's really, really cool. So second year for Zone being on board and my third year at RCR. So a lot of returning partners. Everybody's been really, really great. So ready to kick off 2025.
And there's a lot of excitement kicking off 2025, including going into the Daytona 500. What would it mean to you to capture that Harley J. Earl trophy?
Yeah, it's been, 20 years trying now here this year. So another guy at RCR once upon a time had 20 years of trying and was able to capitalize on that year. So hopefully this year's our year as well, being able to do that. Last couple of years, we've been really strong in that race. I mean, we've been there late in the goings, had opportunities on late restarts and whatnot. So we want to be able to have those same chances again this time around, but really bring home the checker flag.
And it's been really great to see RCR's strength at the super speedways and even the speed that you guys gained last year, knowing that you're going into Daytona and then even Atlanta to follow that up. What confidence does that give you?
It gives you really big confidence to start the year. It gives you great opportunities of being able to go out there, score that win early, put yourself in a really good spot for the playoffs, obviously. And so, you got Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega for the restrictor plate races. There's 6 of those chances out there to be able to go, but there's 30 other drivers also that are having a legit shot of vying for victory too. So you're racing a lot more guys at those races than you are at typical racetracks. So, that Daytona one, it's high on the list.
And you mentioned Dale Sr., drawing parallels between that. What would it mean for you to get the Daytona 500 win this year, knowing, that 20 years of trying and what that means to this organization?
I know it means a lot to any organization to win the Daytona 500, so I know it means an awful lot here to RCR. Austin's been able to do it. Dale's been able to do it. Kevin's been able to do it. So for me to be able to put my name on the list of bringing home a Daytona 500 trophy here for Richard and Judy would be awesome.
Absolutely. And before we look to the rest of 2025, let's take a step back to 2024. If you had to describe that season in one word, what would it be and why?
It was frustrating. A few missed opportunities also. Just Kansas comes to mind. We were leading the race late in the going and got forced up into the wall by a lap car. So that was really, really a tough situation. Las Vegas earlier in the year, we had a really good shot to win that race. We were the fastest car that could keep up with Larson that day. He goes on and wins the race, but we faltered on pit road, So definitely some chances there that slipped away from us, and we want to make sure that we do our jobs of being able to execute the whole season and all the races and through the races to be able to put ourselves in position to win more.
And talking about, working towards getting better this year and having a better season, what has that off-season work looked like so you do have a great 2025?
Yeah, a lot of things behind the scenes here at RCR. Some new engineers, some new people down on the shop floor, people that are here coming from SHR, kind of close their doors and whatnot. So taking some of the information that they have of how they were strong at racetracks where we maybe weren't, and vice versa, being able to capitalize on those notes and put all of that together for us to be a stronger program this year going into all the races.
And for 2025, any specific goals that you have?
Win the Daytona 500. That's earliest. That's the easiest. Set that one high. But past that, we got to win. Got to get back to victory lane. That's the end goal, the most important one as well too. So whether it's 1, 2, 5, 6, 10, doesn't matter. You got to get those wins and put yourself in the best position possible when it comes playoff time, and of course then to Phoenix.
Kyle Busch hopes to get back to victory lane in 2025 and hopes to do it for the Daytona 500. I'm here with 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Joey Logano. And Joey, a bit of a different setting today at Trackhouse Motorplex. What's this all about?
Oh, we had some fun with the team. We usually try to get the team together before the season starts and do something kind of fun, lighthearted, but also talk a little bit about what our goals are this year, what our mission is, and to be able to go out there and repeat, right? That's the ultimate goal, is to go win the championship again, and how we're going to do that. So we've been talking about it all off season, but it's nice to have a kind of a fun environment to cut loose a little bit, but also still think about what we need to do.
As we approach the Daytona 500, the Great American Race, you've won it before. How do you go about doing that again?
Well, it's such an interesting race. The race is played out so different than it is in the fall, just because there's so much on the line, and everybody is willing to go for it in the 500. Nobody thinks about points that much. So there's haymaker moves that people make, right? The big blocks, the big pushes, like there's nothing, just nobody thinks twice really about much. And so it's just more of an intense race, probably more wrecks because of stuff like that, because it's the 500, right? It's the Great American Race. Everyone knows what it's about. So, and you only get one shot a year. So it just becomes very, very crazy out there. So, we feel prepared for that. I feel like we have a really good team, especially on the speedway stuff, working with Blaney and Austin, and our spotters all going to be on the same page, and obviously our crew chiefs being able to have the right strategy as well.
And you say the scoreboard's back to zero, trying to get that championship again, going back to back. What's that work look like for you guys this year? What do you think you needed to clean up a little bit maybe from last year?
Yeah, there's definitely some things we can clean up. I think last year we had such a slow start with the Dark Horse Mustang. Right, that was new to us, and we had to just learn what it liked. And as we figured that out, we saw at the end of the year, well, that Mustang was pretty quick. So we just had to figure out what it took to maximize it. So hopefully this year, there's no changes. We should come out of the gates where we finished and be able to continue that speed, I think. You never know until you get out there, if I'm being honest. But I feel like we understand why we were off the beginning of the year last year, and we should be able to start a little better this year.
And has your perspective of the Daytona 500 changed over the years, like from where you started in your career versus to now? How are you handling the Great American Race?
Same way. Yeah, no, so even more comfortable in the scenario, only because you've done it more. But it's still, you get there and you realize it's Daytona. It's the Great American Race, like you said, the Daytona 500. All the great things that come along with winning the 500. You got one shot at it, and so that pressure is real, right? That affects everybody. But for us, we like that. We invite that, so we're excited to get there.
Well, Joey Logano hopes to go back-to-back this year with the championship. We're here with Michael McDowell at Spire Motorsports. And Michael, new season has to be really exciting working with the new team.
Yeah, there's been a lot of a new manufacturer, new season, new team. But it's been a lot of fun, too, just to get to know everybody here at Spire Motorsports. And, just being a part of the process and the procedures, I feel like a rookie again, because you're just learning new things and new people. But that's exciting, too, because it's not that you get comfortable, but when you're so used to a group that you've been with a long time, that feel of, hey, I kind of know where everything is. I know who does what, and now that's starting over, so it's been fun.
And, of course, you say you feel like a rookie, but you're working with some young teammates as well. How's that dynamic been?
Yeah, there's a big age gap. It's been fun. Carson, he's got a lot of energy and obviously a lot of talent, and but he's wild and crazy, and Justin's right in between. So I'm like the dad figure, which isn't always the fun, but it's worked so far. But we'll see once we get full season here and get in the swing of it. But yeah, it's great to have fast guys. That's what it's all about. And I have two really quick teammates that are going to push me and are going to push the organization to where we need to be. And hopefully I'll do the same. And it'll be a process for sure.
Heading into Daytona, you're pulling double duty. What was the decision like to jump in the truck for that weekend? Are you excited?
Yeah, it was an easy decision. I came into the shop and they said, hey, do you want to run the truck race at Daytona? And I said yes, and that was all that there was to the conversation. For me, there's an opportunity to win in all three national series, and there's not a ton of guys that have done that. So I would like to be able to be one of those drivers that have won in all three. And so I'll have a few opportunities this year in the truck, and hopefully can get it done. But the truck program here at Spire Motorsports is, already had a ton of success. And for me to come into a program like this and get an opportunity, I think is exciting. I haven't had a lot of truck opportunities over my career, so this is going to be a lot of fun.
And going into Daytona, the 2021 Daytona 500 winner, what would it mean to have a second chance at winning the 500?
Yeah, Michael Waltrip tells me that being a two-time winner is better than being a one-time winner, so I'll take his word for it. What winning the 500 does for your team and your partners, and just how big of an event it is. It's very important that we give ourselves the best fighting chance we can down in Daytona. But it's hard. It's hard to get to victory lane. We all know it. And it's about positioning yourself and getting there at the end and having a shot at it. And I've had several shots at it and been fortunate to win one. And if we keep doing that over and over again, we'll get another one.
And there's a new sponsor on the car for you for the 500. Tell me about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting. It kind of came together last minute with Go Bowling, but we're going to have them not just on the Cup car for the 500, but for the truck as well. So excited to bring them into the sport. And actually, I just went bowling last week with my kids, so it's a fun activity that we all enjoy. So it'll be fun to represent them and to bring them on as a new partner, Inspire. And obviously the 500 is the race, right? And so we're excited to bring in a new partner and have such a great opportunity.
We're here at Front Row Motorsports with Noah Gregson. And Noah, new season, maybe some nerves involved with that, but how has the transition been to this new team?
Yeah, it's been fun. We got a new team, new number, but for the most part, my core group of guys is pretty much the same. The mechanics and crew chief, starting with Drew Blickensturfer. We worked together at Stuart Haas on the 10 last year, and being able to come over here, I got my interior guys, so that's always the hardest part, is moving over to a new team, trying to get all the measurements and getting myself fitting right in the car. We just took everything that I ran at Stuart Haas inside the car and put it in these cars. So that's been kind of seamless effort. I've sat in the car a couple times during the off season. Everything was good, so I felt right at home.
And of course, you guys are all set and ready to go for Daytona. What would it mean for you to win the Harley J. Earl Trophy?
It'd be awesome. We've been chasing my first win in the Cup Series, and we just have a strong, solid, speed weeks down there, and be able to qualify good, run a good duel, and then just be smart throughout the race. You got to be there at the end and be in contention. So could be wrecks at any time. It's super speedway racing, but Daytona is always a fun race weekend, no matter if it's a summer race or a Daytona 500. But there's just a little added, excitement when it comes to the Daytona 500. There's a lot of people there, a lot of celebrities. It's our Super Bowl. It's the biggest race of the year. So to be able to win a Daytona 500, I don't know if I could put that into words right now, how I'd feel, but the excitement level would be through the roof, and we definitely partied up quite a bit.
And with the Daytona 500 and all of these super speedway races, teamwork is a big deal with those. So what has it been like working with Zane Smith and Todd Gilliland as part of this team?
Yeah, they've been a lot of fun to work with. We have our off-track relationship, and we're best of buddies. We hang out off the track, and then that's made it easy to be able to become teammates with each other, because we find a pretty good balance of the on-track stuff and the off-track stuff, and being good teammates with each other and racing each other hard still. But we ultimately want what's best for Front Row Motorsports, and that's us working together Monday through Friday, and then when we get to the racetrack on Saturdays and Sundays, it's everything we can do to all run up front. So we have our fun off the track. We work hard, at the race shop and at the track, and it's been a good process so far.
And that's so important to have that balance and to have so much fun with the sport outside of the race car. And I definitely can tell that you do that. How important is that to have that relationship with the fans and the fun of being a race car driver?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool shit what we get to do. It's awesome. So to be able to do this every single week, it'll wear you down, just because it's 38 weeks with one off weekend in there. But at the same time, reminding myself, hey, this is a privilege, and not taking it for granted. It's really cool stuff what we get to do. We get to travel all around the country. We get to go down out of the country this year, down to Mexico City, see new places, meet new people. And I'm one of, just over 30 guys that get to do this at the top level. And as a kid growing up racing, it was always my dream to get here. So never letting the bad weekends or a bad result, try not to let that hinder my thought process and get me too low. Just trying to always remind myself to be positive and get up every morning and try and make someone's day.
We're here with Todd Gilliland at Front Row Motorsports. And Todd, I gotta ask, how much would it mean for you to win that Harley J. Earl Trophy?
Yeah, it would mean the world. I think the Daytona 500 is probably my favorite race in the whole world, to be honest. So always grew up going going to the Daytona 500 when, my dad was racing, and I just loved it, right? The whole week, the experience, like just the excitement. Every team, thinks they've made good changes for the year. They're all excited about what's to come, and I feel good about our team, feel good about where Front Row Motorsports is at as a whole, and I think our cars especially showed last year that they're going to be fast enough and capable of winning on the super speedways, but it's obviously a much different story to actually complete it and get the win. So I think we're ready for it.
You mentioned going to the track with your dad when you were younger. Do you have any favorite memories of going to Daytona?
Ooh, I think probably my favorite one that put Daytona at the top of my list was when he won the pole. I think in 2007. It was just like, obviously I was pretty young. I was probably 7 years old at that point, but like I said, I don't remember a whole lot, but just feeling the energy. It's just so different at the Daytona 500, and pit road is so packed. It's standing room only, and I think it's all those things, right, combined that make it so special.
And you mentioned this team's success on super speedways the past few seasons. How much confidence does that give you to potentially win your first Daytona 500?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence. Like I said, I thought every super speedway last year, we had cars very fast. We were actually both on the front row last time we were at Daytona. So it gives us a lot of confidence. It's a lot of the same guys still building the cars, and I think we can still build really fast. 4 Dark Horse Mustangs coming back. So I'm excited. Obviously, a 3-car team now instead of 2. We have more teammates out there to look out for and also look out for us. So I think we're more than capable of doing it. It's like I said, these races are tough because you need every single thing to go your way, but having fast cars really helps, and at least last year and hopefully this year we've had that.
You mentioned the importance of having additional teammates this year. What has it been like working with Noah and Zane so far?
It's fun. It's much different than Michael McDowell last year. Obviously, Michael has tons of experience, has been around the sport for a really long time, where Zane and Noah combined probably don't have as many starts in their career, and myself too, right? We're all very young and fairly inexperienced for the cup level, so I'm happy about it. We're all pretty good friends away from the racetrack, so I think that'll help our communication quite a bit. And we'll see, right? It's a young, energetic group, and like I said, much different, but I love it so far. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, Todd Gilliland hopes to build consistency this season, and that all starts at the Daytona 500. I'm here with Josh Berry talking about the start of the season. And Josh, it feels like the season just ended, and now we're heading into Daytona. Did you have a chance to kind of relax a little bit during the off season?
Not a whole lot. Definitely the off season feels short, right? Especially changing to a new organization with the Wood Brothers from Stuart Haas, right? It makes for a busy off season trying to adapt and get everything worked out before we get the season started, and obviously working with your new team and new crew chief and everything. It makes for a busy off season.
During the off season though, were you able to do something fun with the team, some events to just bond?
Yeah, we did. One thing we did, we went up to went to the museum at the Wood Brothers in Virginia. That was really cool. I encourage anybody to go up there and see that, because it's so cool going up there and seeing they got all kinds of old cars and pictures, trophies, uniforms, anything. You could spend hours and hours looking around at all the stuff that they have there, and it's so. I told Lynn, it's so just perfectly organized by the era and the car and the driver. So we went and did that, and then we went and did some clay shooting after that. That was a fun team event a couple weeks ago. And yeah, we've been spending a lot of time together. We've been spending some time in the sim, obviously working on that, and then spending time here going over stuff for the Clash, but also going over a good bit of stuff for the 500, right? You're kind of. That's the hard part of the 500, being with a new team and a new group, right? You have to try to just prepare as much as you can beforehand, because this is really the first true test, I feel like, of working together as a group and being on pit road and everything, and working through the strategy, obviously, of the duels and the 500. But we feel prepared. We're excited to get down there.
And what would it mean to you to win the Daytona 500 with this iconic team?
That would be a really big deal. Obviously, just the Wood Brothers have a tremendous amount of history there. Their 75th year, and I feel as good as anybody going there, right? I think for me personally, I gained a lot of confidence in the race last July. Obviously, it didn't end like we wanted to, but we raced really well. Was up front. And really had a great opportunity to win that race. So really, we've spent a lot of time over the offseason looking back at that race and the moves I made in that race, good or bad, learning from that experience, trying to translate that to a new team. And I feel like that we're going to be in a good spot.
And going into this race, you know, the Daytona 500 is filled with legendary moments. Do you have a favorite that you look back on, maybe watching races as a kid or even just recent moments in your career?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many in the 500, right? You just, when you really start looking year by year, how many amazing moments there are. But, you know, probably the one, you know, aside from Dale Earnhardt Sr. winning, and obviously Dale Jr. winning again, and, you know, especially for me, knowing him and being so close with him in 2014, that was really cool. But I think as a kid, I think back to, you know, really one of the first races I really remember watching was the 97 500, and Jeff Gordon won, and Hendrick finished 1, 2, 3, and it was, you know, Dale Sr. flipped over at the end. I can remember a lot of pieces of that race, and really thinking back as a kid, that's one of the first races I really just remember, you know, so much of it. So it's always exciting to go down there.
And knowing that Wood Brothers captured their 100th victory last summer at Daytona, how are you feeling about trying to capture that 100 first?
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously, you know, especially going to Daytona, the Wood Brothers cars have always been strong, right, for decades. So I feel like we can continue that on, and you obviously have some great, you know, alliance with Team Penske, and working with those guys, I think will give us some great teammates out there to work with, along with our, you know, teammates at Ford. And I think it's just going to come down to execution, right? I mean, we see so much strategy involved in that race, and to be fair, there's some luck. You got to be in the right place at the right time. But, you know, for us, the goal is to, you know, stay out front, try to stay in front of the mess as much as you can, and leave it up to fate.
Who will end up in victory lane? We'll find out when the green flag drops for the Daytona 500.